Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back. Man, here's the secret. If you guys want to do a podcast and you guys are struggling with being comfortable when you do a podcast and your legs are getting kind of tired and you're like hitting the wall 30 minutes into it and Jesus Christ, you're like, fuck, man, I got nothing else to talk about. Which is like basically like, like that is a real thing. Like you hit that wall and you're just exhausted. But if you guys are sitting down, you're doing a podcast, the secret of a consistent upload schedule, the secret to a consistent podcast. You're gonna see a lot of shit out there, a bunch of good stuff and a bunch of stupid stuff, and you can see stuff that is bogus. But the truth is, if you want to have a successful podcast, you have to do the episodes. When you record the episodes, you have to do it butt-ass naked. Not actually butt-ass naked, but you have to freeball. I'm telling you. The secret is comfort. As I'm doing this, as I'm speaking to you guys right now, I'm twiddling my toes with each other. I'm taking my big toe, and I'm putting it next to my second big toe, and we're just high-fiving each other. We're just high-fiving the piggies. You know, we're just taking our feet and we're just waddling through the air and stuff because it's just relaxing. You feel the air just flowing through your little piggies, and you can feel the air just come up your short or your sweatpants. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you, but I'm wearing sweatpants, no underwear, just chilling, you know, and that's like the ultimate comfort. Because if you have tight pants on, you know, like, I don't know if it's about having tight pants or if it's or if having tight pants is the cause for the stress if you go out somewhere, or like a tight shirt or whatever it is. But tight clothing to me, unless I look really good, if I'm in really good shape, I will wear tight clothing as much as I possibly can because I'm arrogant ass. But otherwise, I don't like wearing tight clothing because it just makes me feel stressed. I get a little bit more anxious. I feel like I have to perform a certain way. So if I want to do a podcast, there's nothing better than just wearing sweatpants. And I didn't know this. I didn't learn this important fact until I was like, I don't know, a few episodes deep, like probably like 20, 25 episodes in. No, not even. This is like something I've learned like with like starting like episode 5, I've worn the same sweatpants every single episode. And the secret also, here's another secret, is you got to have a drink. And you got to have a drink that you like. And you can't have a hot drink. I used to drink hot coffee. You guys have noticed I stopped drinking hot coffee. There's a few reasons for that. Ready? Reason number 1. You don't want to drink hot coffee because you sweat. You're going to be hot. I do it in my bedroom. And these lights I have, these studio lights, they're bright, you know, and they let off a lot of heat. And on top of that, you want to keep your mouth nice and wet. You don't want to get cotton mouth. You don't want to have build up in your mouth. You know, you want to keep it moisturized. You want to have a moist mouth. So you got to have liquid like this, like a cold lemonade or something, like a nice pink or strawberry or lemon lemonade, and strawberry-ade. That's what it should be called. If you're having like a pink, I don't know what's pink. I think they just call it a pink lemon. But you got to have a liquid, you got to have a sweatpants, and you got to have no socks on the feet, and you just got to be comfortable. Not having socks makes me feel like I'm at the beach all the time. Like like whenever I meditate or whenever I like do TM, transcendental meditation, which is essentially you just lay there and you just relax and you just let thoughts come to your head and you just let them flow by. Whenever I do that, I go barefoot. You know, and I walk around the house barefoot. Whenever I have my socks off and I have some ugly ass toes, I panic pick my toenails, which is disgusting, and I just flick them around. And when I was younger, I used to eat my toenails. You know, that's disgusting. Doing that is like the rock bottom of like everything, life. Like it is absolutely foul to do that. So don't do that. You're gonna get fungi in your mouth. You're gonna start growing a little garden in your mouth of just fungi from your own feet, and it's disgusting. And when you have bare feet on, you feel like you're at the beach. You feel nice. You just feel relaxed. And it's just a good time, you know? It's just a good time, especially when you're at the beach and you can feel like the sand between your toes when it's like nighttime, not when it's like midday and it's the sun's just blaring down at the beach. Then you burn your little piggies, and you don't want to burn your little piggies. You want your little piggies to be happy. But oh yeah, did I say? Yeah, so no socks. That's a huge tip. I think this is like strawberry kiwi lemonade, or strawberry kiwi aid, because it's not lemon. So no socks, no underwear, and if you can add a daily sweatpants to that, so your sweatpants that are consistently feeling good around your body, that's always a key. Having a liquid, a cold liquid, is a huge key. Don't put ice in it though, because you're going to be tempted to eat the ice, and you do not want to do that, because then you start chewing in the camera. Like that episode, I think 57 or 56, when I ate chocolate. I apologize. And dude, I looked at that. I'm such a fat. Such a fat ass. just munching away. Oh my god, that was fucked up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Also having like a few topic ideas, that's always a good call. Like I have like my phone here, and I have a few of them here. But yeah, guys, happy Tuesday. It's going to be a good week. You guys are going to kick ass. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. Before we get into it, I want to thank you guys so much. Again, I feel like I'm doing this all the time, and I feel like I'm doing it all the time because I have to do it, because the support is just growing and growing and growing. You guys saw that I'm adding titles to the videos now. I said that again. I'm going to say it again. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. The reason, the cause for that is this gentleman said something on my podcast, and he made perfect sense. And it's so weird because I know what I need to do to grow the podcast. I know I need to put descriptions in my titles. I know I need to use catchphrases. I know I need to leave like timestamps in the description. And I know I need like an intro video played by some music in the title. And I also know I need to take clips of each podcast and upload those before the new episode comes up, so that those have a chance to go viral, or at least get more views, because YouTube likes shorter clip videos. I know all this, and honestly, like I hate this excuse, but this excuse is so valid for me right now, and I'm going to use it. That is so time consuming, and it is so difficult to do. It's not easy to do at all. Like, timestamps are hard, and I hate listening to myself. Like, editing's already hard enough, because I don't like listening to myself talk. It just feels so arrogant and like narcissistic, and I cannot stand hearing myself speak. So if I had to take clips, I would have to see where the subject starts, blah, 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 blah. So that's why I like the Instagram, just put up a minute video. But I know those things would help the podcast grow exponentially. But I want somebody to help me with that, somebody I trust. So anyways, that's why I have the titles on the videos now. And it is, I think it's going to be a game changer. I think it's going to be the next little boost of growth for the podcast. But yeah, so if you guys could like this video on YouTube, like it, watch it. If you guys click the links on the ads, it helps me out too. I've been thinking about doing like a Patreon or something. I'm not too sure, but thank you guys so much. So like it on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, and hit that notification bell on YouTube. If you guys are listening to it audio, please just leave it a 5-star rating. And you can leave it a written rating too. That helps me tremendously also. But yeah, I had a beautiful week. I had a beautiful weekend. I've been reading books like crazy. I'm getting ready to go back to school right now. So I have, I think, so by the time, so you guys are watching this on Tuesday, which is the 28th, I believe. It comes out, so all my videos come out at 5 p.m., 7:30 in the morning on audio if you guys want to listen to it before. If you guys want to listen to it instead of watching my ugly face talk with my gorillas behind me, you can do that. But this is my first day of school. If you guys are watching this, I'm filming this on Thursday, I think, of last week. But this is my first day of school, and I've been excited as hell to go back to school. Like I haven't really been excited up until like the week before. Because I miss learning, and I've been taking online class, which, come on, you don't really learn. You just kind of got to retain information, spit it back out on tests and homework and stuff like that. But I've been so excited to get back into school, just get my brain pumping again. I've been doing the personal training thing. I've been having a few clients here and there, doing the podcast. I've never in my life felt so grounded before, ever. And lately it's just been really nice. It's almost like a trip though, because I'm just waiting for disaster to strike. And that's something I wish I could just kind of slow down on, like kind of just appreciate the good when the good's there. And instead of me doing that, I'm always so concerned about the wheels falling off the car, because I feel like, what I've noticed when I'm low on money in my bank account, the feeling I have, or when I have a lot of money in my bank account, I don't feel like I have a lot of money in my bank account. I don't feel like I've accomplished really anything. I feel like I've saved my money well. And it's almost like, and when I have a lot of money, I don't spend my money. I spend my money when I don't have a lot of money. And I don't know what that is exactly, but that's kind of how I feel. I forget where I was going with that. Yeah, so I've just been really embracing this time of just smooth sailing and health for me, for my family. Everything seems to be going well. But I anticipate disasters all the time, and something that for so long I thought I had to work on it. I thought it was like a handicap, but I don't know if it is. Like I've been trying to figure it out. I don't know how much of that is bad to never really be comfortable. Like I'm comfortable, but I'm always just looking forward to the next step, like looking for the next street sign, and that's kind of how my life is lived. And I think it's because of that, I'm finding myself happy right now. I'm finding myself on a good stretch of comfort. Mine is Taylor being gone, which sucks, but one thing really cool about that is it's the same way with death. There's a quote, I forget who it's by, but I want to say Carl Jung, but I think I could be wrong. And it's a quote that I'm going to butcher, but it goes on the lines of, without death, there would be no value of living. And it's a deep quote. It's a short one, and I think I didn't get it spot on, but I think I got it pretty close. I might be getting like a little red mustache. But it's the truest quote ever, because if we lived our lives and we knew death was never upon us, we would never appreciate the people who we've run through in life. Like the only reason why I get a good feeling about loving somebody, about loving my girlfriend, or loving my relationship with my family, is because I know it's finite. I know it's eventually going to end, but when it ends, I want that time period to feel as fulfilling as it could possibly have felt. But if I could live forever, if I could live without dying, or without the knowledge of death, which is something that humans have, which a lot of animals don't have, is the consciousness of death. And I've always wondered if animals could have the consciousness of their death, know kind of symptoms that are showing up that will cause their death to be closer. Would tigers and bears be less reckless? But then I'm like, no, I don't think so, because I think it's in the biology to be reckless. But then you run into some humans that are reckless. And what's that common characteristic of teenage boys, 25 years old, driving down the street super fast with the Heineken in the right hand, and just going down 110 miles per hour on their motorcycle, blaring music, just weaving out of lanes. They think they're invincible. They think they won't die. So you could be as reckless as you possibly want. I think there's some truth into that. There's a lot of truth in that. But once damn, I'm not going to be here forever. You can't, you find a balance, and you're not as reckless, because you don't want to end your life early if you know that you haven't fulfilled it, but if you feel, and I've never felt this way. I think a lot of teenage boys, especially, because that's what I am. I'm a 23-year-old male, so I speak on it because that's kind of what I know. I wouldn't speak on like women, because some experience, interactions with women, but I don't know enough to really feel like an expert. But if I felt invincible, which I have a lot of friends, and I know I hear stories from my father and friends like that who have felt invincible. I haven't. I've never felt that way. I've always been so introverted in the sense that I would watch people and I would hear stories, and I've had people really close to me pass away at a young age. So I knew that life was a finite thing, and it was a very, very sensitive thing. It was something that, Jesus Christ, was lucky. And I knew that from 12, 13, 10 years old. I knew it. I knew it. I don't know why, but I think it might have been the way that I was raised with police officers as parents, and I heard just terrible stories all the time from what they were going through and what they had to deal with on a daily basis. I knew death was real, and I knew life could be knocking on death's door all the time, and I knew that no matter how strong you felt, if you walked out in front of a car as it was driving by and it didn't see you, you could die. And I knew that from an early age. So what am I getting at here? Let's pull back a little bit. I'm saying that when you know that your life is just short, that gives you a reason, that gives you a sense of why you should go out. I gotta fucking water these cactuses so bad. Not this little guy looks fine, but these two right here, especially this little guy right here. He's lost half his soil because I always knock it over. But yeah, anyways, when you know that death is upon you, and because you know that, it makes every relationship so valuable, and important to find a common ground with somebody. Like, do you always want to argue? Do you always want to be angry? Do you always want to hold a grudge? And if you don't do those and you find an overwhelming sensation of just purity with somebody, the reason why I feel so pure is because that time you have with them, you're eventually going to pass away. So that time that you do have with them feels so easy and beautiful. And that's kind of how I am right now. And I know that like Taylor's gone and it sucks and I miss her. But if she, the only reason why I miss her is because, or I miss her because I know I won't see her, and then when I will see her, it's going to feel so much better when I do see her, or that, that has anything. That's just a very easy example right now that I can think of. But this idea that death is an evil thing, yeah. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes you lose kids and sometimes you lose parents at a young age. And I've never personally really experienced that to an extreme. And I feel like that would be living hell. And that's when you start questioning everything, That makes perfect sense. But I'm lucky enough I haven't experienced that. So for me, death to me is a blessing because it allows your life to have meaning, Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about that, and it's very intriguing. And one book I read, The Intelligence Trap, I recommend this book. It's a good book, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead and read it. It's by David Robson. It's a great book. It talks about different pitfalls and traps that you might make in your life. And it gives examples of, even if you're an intelligent person or you have an above average level of intelligence, and it defines intelligence not in like an IQ level or an EQ level, but like general intelligence. It's a really good book. It's a quick read. I don't know. I recommend it. It's only like 270 pages. 260 pages. So it's a quick and easy read. But it's a good read, and I think you would like it a lot. But then I read this book called Into the Wild by John Krakauer, like that right there. You can see it. This book right here was good, So the front of it says, in April 1992, a young man from a well-to-do family hitchhiked to Alaska and walked alone into the wilderness north of Mount McKinley. By the way, this book, there's a movie about it, so you can go ahead and watch the movie. And I'm going to watch the movie with my girl whenever I see her or I might watch it solo, who knows. But because I hear it's great and I've read the book, so I've never really read a lot. Like, I've never read a book up until 8 months ago. Before that, I don't think I ever read one book. Maybe one or two, but not really. Like, I just didn't read because I felt so stupid, and I thought honestly I was stupid, and I boxed myself into that category, and I never wanted to try to learn where I could just constantly wrap myself tighter in a jumpsuit of a portrayed lack of knowledge. That's what the jumpsuit was. The jumpsuit was, I would tighten it up, and it made me feel more secure knowing that I was a dumbass, useless piece of shit. You know, and that's what I wrapped myself around. You know, and that's why I did crazy things. You know, that's why I acted out. That's why I acted out towards people, and I did things that were dangerous because I wanted to prove to people, yeah, I am. I'm a piece of shit. I'm not smart. And then I realized, no, I'm not smart because, no, you are smart. You just don't apply yourself. You get scared of success. You get scared of possibly failing. Dude, fuck. Here we go. The fear of failing. The fear of failing. Oh, let me finish that too real quick. I'm all over the place today. I've been in a weird state lately. Like, I've been happy, but I've just been nonstop. I need to go to school. I need to go to school. I need to exhaust my brain again. His name was Christopher Johnson McCandles. He had given $25,000 in savings to charity, abandoned his car and most of his possessions, burned all the cash in his wallet, and invented a new life for himself. 4 months later, his decomposed body was found by a moose hunter. In this gripping account, acclaimed journalist John Krakauer reassembles the disquieting facts of Chris McCandless' short life and searches for clues to the mystery of his untimely death. Digging deeply, he also unravels the larger riddles surrounding McCandless' cause. The pool of the America's wilderness, the allure that it holds for restless young men, the complex bond between fathers and sons, a cherished contemporary class for investigation journalism into the wild blazes with power and luminosity on every page. And that was the coolest thing about the book. And it's so interesting. Like, I've never read a book so ferociously in my life. And all these I've read within the past 8 months. And I read that book in 36 hours. And in that 36 hours, it was about a 200-page book, I think. 203 pages. I read 150 of it on Wednesday of last week. Just nonstop. And the other 53 I read like the night before I went to bed or whatever. So I read that thing within 36 hours. And it was so amazing because you see glimpses of your personality within this character, or you see fragments of previous personality traits that you might have held a little bit closer. And you can almost relate to the guy. You know, there was moments in that book where I was like, yeah, of course he did that, because I wasn't shocked, you know? I was completely in awe. I was like, oh, no, I get it. I know why he did that. I know why he left society. I know why he didn't want to take orders from people. I know why he was upset with his dad. You know, I know why he was mad at his sister. Or I know why he went to Alaska. You know, I know why he didn't want to, he just got through college. That's how I felt in high school. I just got through high school because I knew I had to, you know. So it was just so enthralling. And I remember being a young chaplain. I remember being a young chaplain with me and my sister. We used to go out back. And we used to always try to play in the woods. You know, we used to do this thing where we would jump through the trees and think that we were professional tree climbers and stuff. And I ended up staying out there for hours longer than her. I was obsessed with it. I was so obsessed with the freedom of just flying through the woods, not worrying about anything, you know, just jumping from tree to tree and you know, waiting for the sun to come down. And as the sun come down, got a little bit colder outside, you know, just a little bit colder, but you still had short sleeves on. You know, you could finally start feeling all the little scrapes and bruises on your body start to really sink in. You can start feeling the stinging of the dirt inside of your cuts, you know. You can start feeling the sweat. It's not rolling down your face anymore. It's now stuck to your face. You know, you can feel it. You can smell the night air just sinking in. You can smell the storm coming in, and there's just enough light out there where you could get through the woods, and but you don't really know what you're stepping on. You can't really see that, but you know that you're out there in freedom. You know that when I was a child, I knew that when I was in the woods, there was deer in the woods too, looking at the same thing I was looking at from a different distance. There was different perspectives. There was creeks. You could hear birds. You could just escape from reality. And that's why I love this book so much. You just got so deep into it. You understood why he did what he did, even though he passed away. And then the people he met along the way. I always think about that. Like when I was reading that book, I was thinking about, dude, you know how many people are probably out there and like they have this different perspective of me because they knew me at a specific time of my life. They knew me at 18 years old when I was just fucking crazy. Wasn't doing crazy things, but I had no direction. 22 and I had no direction. When I was 12 years old, when I was 13 years old, when I was 8 years old, and there's people out there that you run across in your life who have these they have these very truthful ideas of who you are. And they have those truthful ideas of who you are because that's who you were, but this idea that there's awe and shock that this guy did that never entered my head. And I think that's why that on the back cover says of a young man, because it's so true. Like I know all my friends out there could relate to at one point in their life where they were just acting out, trying to prove themselves, arguing with their father because it was a showdown of dominance. And it wasn't my dad never got nearly as mad at me about that stuff as when I would yell at my mom or I would raise my voice to my mom or I'd be disrespectful to somebody. That was disrespect. That was wrong. But when it was just him and me, he never got mad at me. He would get upset. He would have put me in my place. But it's what he did to his father, when his father did his father, and what his grandfather did to his great-grandfather, and great-grandfather did to his great-great-grandfather. It's what male baby bear do to their dad. It's what not sharks, they eat each other, but like it's what like a male dolphin does to their parents. It's just a sense of a challenge, and that I think that's had a lot to do with like the reason why I'd always try to debate people. I wanted like a challenge, I wanted a challenge, and the woods just always was a challenge, and I didn't have to face off with anybody. I could just jump around log to log and just have a good fucking time. It's a great book. I'm going to give it to one of my buddies at work. I don't want to say his name, but I'm going to give it to him and he's going to read it. And I think it's a book that he's going to love. And I think it's a book that I'm going to pass down to my kids and have them read. And apparently it's a classic. I didn't even know it was a classic. The only Into the Wild that I read was, I think Wild Fang or White Fang and Call to the Wild, which was, books that my dad told me about. But, great book. But yeah. So I went up to Towson today and I like to always see my classes, and I have a class in the liberal arts building. And it's my first time not having a class in the business center. I've had a class in the science center, but I've never had one in the liberal arts building. And I walked into it and I felt like I was at like a building on at Blacksburg, like Virginia Tech. Like it was a nice building. Like the business building is so ancient, but it was really cool walking down the hallways. There's like history of Portugal majors. There was like foreign languages, just a completely different side of college that I think the media talks about. It was liberal arts, so it was a very liberal school. That was in the liberal part of the building, and I never thought I would have a class there because when I signed up for classes, I didn't know what I signed up for. I just signed up because I saw the words, the letters, and I knew I had to take that class because that's what my guidance counselor told me to take. But I walk into the building, and it was so cool. Like all these plays, like the more and older I get, the more I appreciate the arts, I appreciate the arts so much, and it's weird because I think arts are the sign of the times that they came from. I think... And I think before, I never appreciated that. I never appreciated the Mona Lisa. But then you do some research and you're like, oh, that's not just a picture of a woman, but that's a portrayal of a woman at that time period. You know, you just see the clothing of people. You see the class structure. You see plays, movies. And it's like and you got to do it without it. And this is what's weird about art, right? Because if art's truly art, you don't grade art, right? You don't grade art. You let art out there in the ether. There's a reason why there's so many movies. There's reasons why there's so many plays, books, paintings. And the idea of art is something is released, and there's a perspective of it, you know? And okay, there might be an absolutely racist, disgusting perspective of it. But does that mean it shouldn't be released? You know, and art has always been freedom, right? And as I'm walking through the building, I was like, I feel like art lately has been judged and so harshly, which is fine. But if it's judged by the wrong person, it's shut down, you know, without knowing the intentions of the artist. Now, if the artist or the director or whatever puts out something intentionally to harm a group of people, that's not art. That's hate. You know, that's hate, right? That's hate. You can't do that. That's not allowed. That's wrong. That's fucked up. Like, but I was just so excited to be in that building, and this is embarrassing, and I feel like a bigot for saying this, but 2 to 4 years ago, I would have been like, fuck the art building. This is stupid. All these fucking liberals. Fuck. I would have been just angry, like, oh, stupid this, stupid that. But no, I didn't feel like that. I felt excited to have one class in there, 8 a.m. to 9:15, and just see the variety of human beings going on in the room and just see perspectives. I think it's like a business ethics class. So I didn't even know what classes I was taking. But it was such a beautiful part of the school. You know, it's a beautiful building, and it's a newer building, and my building, the business building's old as shit. It looks like a castle, though, so it looks cool, but it's not really comfortable, nearly as comfortable compared to the liberal arts school. But I always go up to a class. I always want to see what my classes are, because I was so excited to go back to school. So excited. I wish I started this week, but I'm going to have like different assignments where I got to work with kids in groups, but that's fine, you know. One thing that I have been thinking about, though, is once I go back to school, if people are going to find out about the podcast, you know, and that's something that I think about all the time. I always think about what I say on these podcasts after I say them, and I always wonder if I say things that maybe I shouldn't release. But that's why I started the podcast, to not have to worry about what I say. You know, I started the podcast because I didn't want to worry about that. I wanted to say what I wanted with my own freedom, you know? And I've always worried sometimes of saying things that might be misinterpreted. And I get nervous that I might be judged a certain way. And this is me being perfectly honest, that I might be judged as this fill-in-the-blank person. When in reality, the people closest to me know I'm not that fill-in-the-blank person. When in reality, I'm just a normal person. And I say things sometimes that could be misinterpreted a certain way. And I was thinking about this, and I wrote it down. I said what I wrote down as I was falling asleep last night. I wrote down two things. How retarded is it that we still have the royal family? That's one thing. Next generation of drug users become phones. Because of phones, I already talked about that. But this is the next thing I wrote down. The true importance of free speaking during these days. Like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, I'm going to try to finish this up because I've been liking the 40, 45-minute episodes. This might go on a little bit longer, but you always need a balance, right? Like I was saying at the beginning, you always need a balance. you can't be too far freedom. Can't give people too much freedom, because the statistics show that there's enough fucking crazy people out there who will mistreat it. You can't ever be too controlling. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in like 2016 to 2018, and it's been, time has gone by quickly, but during those time periods, those years, everything that you would ever say, ever, was misinterpreted as you harmed this person intentionally, or you got in trouble for this, or people were getting canceled for everything without ever having the freedom to explain themselves. And what I was saying about the podcast, and why sometimes I do worry who's going to listen to it, the thing that always makes me go like, don't worry, Mike, is because I know that if you listen to the podcast and you hear me say something that maybe you don't agree with, I understand. I hope that you know me and understand that doesn't define who I am. Just like if someone says something that's misinterpreted a certain way, or comes out unpoetically and sounds harsh, or is, maybe just didn't have to say, that that a person is a complex creature. And I hope that you can understand that you probably have said something, and this isn't about you. I'm not just trying to get to my point here. You need to allow those years, there was no freedom of speech. You could say things, but you would get attacked harshly without ever having the freedom to explain yourself. You always need people. You always need podcasts. You always need the freedom of speech to critique the rules, quote unquote, that are going on in society. What can you and can't you say? That line can never be hard and solid. Ever be hard and solid. It has to always be bendable. It has to always be flexible. It has to always have the ability to move a certain way. Otherwise, the happiness of an average human will go down significantly, because they can't say their true thoughts, even if they are not good thoughts. You have dark thoughts. People have dark thoughts. We all have had thoughts like, fuck that person. Like, I hope that person crashes, because they cut you off and you hate them. And for that quick moment, you're like, damn it, I hate that person. And I'm not crazy. I know people have those thoughts. I'm slightly crazy. Slightly. But it's not okay for those thoughts and for those quick moments of, fuck, maybe I shouldn't have said that, to be the definitive, to be what defines an individual. And the only way you can combat that is if you have people, if you have podcasts like this one, where I am a free-flowing podcast. That's always been my intention. I've never wanted to go away from that. I've always just wanted to talk and talk and talk. And what comes out. And I've never edited it. The only thing I edit is when there's dead noise at the end. When I say thank you guys so much, see you in the next episode. Or when I welcome you guys. So me sitting down, getting ready, scooting up. You guys don't want to see my fat fucking tits bouncing up and down as I'm moving into my seat. By the way, I woke up at 209 pounds, losing weight. I'm 8 pounds down. But you always need people who are willing to push the boundaries and are unapologetic, because what they said is not what they meant. And I think that's important. I think we're coming to a place now, and I think a lot of this craziness that we live in is not real, but I think it's designed and it's pushed and it's accepted because of the world that we live in right now with Donald Trump as our president. We have an extreme personality up there that, since he's up there, it's so much easier that the short path, the way that requires no intelligence, is to assume, since that is our president, that is America, that is stupidity, that person, because they're wearing a red hat, even if it doesn't say Make America Great Again, they're a piece of shit. It's so easy. It takes no level of second questioning yourself. You can just jump to conclusions. That's a dangerous place to be. Also, a dangerous place to be is when you can't talk. That's North Korea. You have to be able to talk, let your thoughts out, good or bad, lead to conversation, increase your knowledge on people through conversation that you don't know. I guarantee you, in my liberal arts building, when I have that class, I guarantee you someone's going to say something that I don't agree with. But I can't. But that's what they say, and I'm not going to argue with them. But I'm going to listen to them, and I might even agree with them. But you need to have freedom of speech, true freedom of speech, without hateful speech. And you need to have the freedom of acceptance. You need to allow yourself to accept viewpoints and the freedom to listen. Bam, guys. That's all I got to say today. Yeah. I love this. I love it. I love it. I love doing the podcast. I love that you guys listen. I love that you guys support me. I just love what I do. You guys are beautiful people. Yeah, episode 59 in the books. I'll catch you guys at episode 60, man. 6 out of 10. 60%. 6 over 10. 3 out of 5. 1.5 out of 2.5. 0.75 out of 1.25. 0.375 out of 0.875. That's all I got, guys. I'm going to catch you guys in episode 60. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace out.